All right, let's go. We've got Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Dark over here in the right side of this map, playing a Zerg versus Terran up against Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Cure. It is the ESL North American Weekly number 133, and this is the semi-final match. It's a best of 3, as of course they did lower the semis from best of 5 to best of 3 quite a while back now. Still something that I do miss, having best of 5s in the semis. And I think it makes these series a little bit more brutal, but we'll see how it goes. This map is, of course, Data C, or Data C, if you guys are American. Or, I don't know, I think most people say that, but I like Data. That's what we get in Australia. Data's pretty expensive on your phone here. Costs a bit. Okay, Marine first. So Dark's like, hey! Still comes in and confirms what's up, and he should just go along that ledge. That way, and then he could deny dying, I believe. But oh, he's actually going to sack it. I think if he goes north there, he could actually, the Marine can't be on the high ground and the low ground at the same time. Dark, actually, I think with some really lazy Overlord positioning. On the other hand, he does build 2 more Overlords immediately, then drops the third base. So you can see that the other Overlords are going to pop, and he's barely going to actually be supply blocked. It's mostly just the loss of the 100 minerals, having to build the extra Overlord, spend a lava on that is a bit of a bummer, but a very cute opening from Cure, who's now got the Reactor Marine, Hellions building one at a time, Starport on the way. Dark, he's left 1 worker on gas. Hasn't started Ling Speed yet, and I think that's definitely something you're always going to delay in this scenario because, hey, I'm losing an Overlord, I'm taking mineral damage. Quick, delay the gas. Like, don't focus on that. Just focus on getting as many drones, Overlords to make up for that early damage. And I think this is very wise, delaying Ling Speed till 3 minutes and 5 seconds, until after he's really been keeping on top of his production. Now, there's a medevac on the way as well, so it looks like a Marine drop into the triple Hellion run by. We'll then see the factories do the swap over onto the reactor as well. So it's a pretty good opening, but a bit of a delay on his Marine production there. As you can see, he's very starved for cash at this point. SCVs aren't even building right now. Crazy that there's 3 Marines here. He's looking for an Overlord snipe. Oh, that's very, very cute. But with the Queens nearby, he's not going to be able to get it. He's already pushed Dark's vision back, though, a bit further than Dark would like it. Normally, you'd have Overlords all the way out here in the middle of the map, but the Marines threatening around it makes that kind of harder. And it is going to be a 7 Marine drop. Like I said, he was a little lacking in his production just because building medevacs, Hellions, Marines, and SCVs and mules so quickly does cost a lot. And we've got 2 Hellions here, the 3rd Hellion running out, which gives you the ability to one-shot workers. And this is where the add-on swap-arounds do happen. So, looks like the starport, oh, he just lifted off the tech lab that he'd built with it. So a bit of an unnecessary lift, bit of a misclick there for Cure. And the Marine drop comes in, doesn't really find anything. Queen's already pushing that one back. And here we go. Hellions go for a bit of a dive. That Queen is pushing it back as well, though the medevac's already taken a lot of damage. And with the Lings here as well. Oh, very nicely done by Dark. Dark has got Queens there, Queen there, and Queens over here, cleaning up another Hellion. This is complete shutdown so far. 44 workers versus 37. The lair starts up just past 4:30. Third base getting saturated. We've got Spore Crawlers going up in the bases. This is a rock-solid opening for Dark. He does finally get something, does Cure. Gets a Queen pick-off. Does save all of his Marines, picking off a few Zerglings there as well. Behind this, the 3rd command center is quite late with this build. Goes down at about 4 minutes 30. He's building 2 more depots here and an armory. Oh, he's going to go for a Hellbat Banshee timing. This is not what Dark expects at all, because Dark is not got a Baneley Nest or a Roach Warren. Dark, though, does snipe the medevac, and the Hellions have taken a lot of damage. So I feel like, yeah, he's kind of keeping Dark distracted, but Dark's cleaned up a lot of his units. Baneley Nest goes down exceptionally late. Dark, the master of greed. Anyone who saw Dark vs. Maru over in Valencia knows all about that. That grand finals, never getting a Baneley Nest or Roach Warren before like the 5:30 mark. He was so greedy in those openings, and it looks like he's trying to get away with it again. Great Spore trick for Dark, keeps that one alive. And you can see for Dark, he doesn't quite have detection vision there. So just going to use a bit of hold position, trying to pick off these drones as they pop out, as they mine that gas geyser. And where's the other Banshee? Just popping out now. So a bit slow on the 2nd Banshee. Queens. Oh, with the Overseer, he's going to try and catch it. Banshee will get out of there just barely. Takes a lot of hits though. Massive Hellbat timing, guys. Is Stim finished? No. No Stim, but 10 Marines and 8 Hellbats. It's a scary force. Baneley Nest is done. He's going to try and clear creep, push on through. No Banelings morphing yet for Dark. A little slow on that. He doesn't have much gas in the bank. He's taken up to 5 gases, but he's only just been putting workers on them now. So Dark is a little starved in that regard. 4th base does get sniped down. but a good cancel by Dark, and he chases these Banshees off. Banshees need to just go home and repair at this point. Dark does need to replenish his creep on the left side. Overall, though, he's maintaining a 13 worker lead. He's got a macro hatch. He's got a 4th base. You know, he's looking very healthy. I really feel like the macro hatch, something that makes up for these messy builds and these situations where you might actually be pulling queens to defend and missing injects. He's very good at keeping that going. Now, he's going Spire and double Evo after Bane speed. So he's going to go double upgrades, but they're going to be about 1 full upgrade behind on the Terran. Luckily for him, Q is playing tanks. Most Terrans do play tanks. Now, there's a great position with siege tanks here behind this ledge, behind these cliffs, which can control the center. Problem is, it's so predictable that most Terrans open siege tanks, especially on this map, where Q is one of the few Terrans who otherwise sometimes does open Widow Mines. But because you know that, Mutas become amazing. Mutas are really good at working so much space on this map. Dark, he's trying to get a Baneling run by on that base, but Banshees are there and a depot wall going up that'll spot it coming. It's a low investment, only 4 of those Banelings. Still, Hellbat's in the middle of the map as well. Tanks are building. 4th and 5th reactors finally up here for Cure. His armory is already done, so we don't have to worry about him forgetting that. Ooh, Ling Bane Queen building on up. Bane speed's about 20 seconds away. Definitely doesn't want to fight till then. And oh, the Banshees must have moved out, guys. Where are they? Oh, they moved up the top, and so 9 SCVs do go down. Pretty successful wave of 4 Banelings. Not to mention Dark's creep is kept back in its corner of the map. So this is pretty successful for Cure right now. Ooh, okay, this game could go either way at this point. Cure's economy is a little bit lower, but he's continually doing damage. He's continually being an annoying player to deal with. The Mutas are going to come out soon, though. When those Mutas come out, they might actually be able to do this. Marines coming on in. There we go. Can he get to the high ground? Maybe gun down those drones. The Lings here struggling to get the angle, and Cure focuses down a few of those Banes. Great damage once again. His trades are fantastic. I just have to say, there's no second factory, there's no 4th command center, and that means that even though he's finding damage and good trades, you can see he's at 2-1. Is it enough to deal with the size of Dark's economy? Dark is now getting this 5th up. He is respreading some creep, if not amazingly. He is respreading some. He's covering his main. I'd love to see him move a spore down here, another spore over here on this cliff as well, move that spore crawler down, and really zone out that edge. I think zoning out the edge is very important on this map where drops are so annoying. On the other hand, Drilling Claws is now starting. Second factory, Widow Mine production started up. The Mutas have just come out on the map, and they are going around the very top, but there is a turret waiting for them, so they will not have the surprising effect that they're looking for. Just having a sip of my water there. Dark did spread creep in the top, but they're kind of behind the front line. And it's really the creep here that he needs to be spreading through the middle that's more important right now. And the Mutas are going to come in. There's no turret there, but there's plenty of Marines nearby. Cure does respond pretty quickly, only loses a couple SCVs. He's going to try and drop some Marines on the high ground as well. It's only 8 Mutalisks, so he can't even turn around and snipe all that down. Dark trying to be a nuisance, but yeah, it's a small number of Mutas. It's not a large number, so it's basically a Massling Bane into Hive style with a pretty damn late Hive. And you've got some Mutas for support, but it's not really Mutaling Bane, is it? It's just a Massling Bane style. 10 Queens to help on the ground. He's allowing this small army of Cure to bully him a little bit. That's what he's got to deal with. Alrighty, right. Hive has started. Thor's on the way. 3 more barracks. So the production's getting rounded out for Cure. That scary point where I thought he was a bit late accelerating his growth. I think he's past that stage now, because once these tech labs are down, he's got concussive shells made. He will have a great army for dealing with Lingbane Muta. But, oh, this is bad. This is really bad for him. His army, bit surprised. His turrets aren't quite ready. Uh-oh. And he's going to stim down there, and a bit of a, cheeky F2 to respond to that. The turrets will come up now. There's really not that many Mutas, guys. It's just the initial 6. So I think we might see Infestors and Ultras out of Dark. I don't see another transition that makes sense for him right now. Oh, okay. Couple Mutas going down, just shutting that down. But time to start pushing. You've got a big indent in the creep. This is a great pushing path on this side. +2 vehicle armor, 3/3 upgrades on the attack and armor started as well. 2/2's not quite done for Dark, so Dark, he's coming in with a big flank right now. Cure, I think, is ready for this for now. Oh, Dark with a bit of sloppy army control. He's now roaming. The Banshees are still alive. Man, they're doing a great job, aren't they? The fact that the Mutas have not been able to deal with that is a real pain for Dark, who's now going for a huge run by this Widow Mine. Oh my lord, that gets a good hit. There's not a lot of supply at home, but this bio could come in and defend. Oh, he shoves it on the front. One tank goes down. The bio's still looking good. Mass Baneling Morph just rallied into it. Dark going for a real sloppy defense, but it's going to work. Is it though? Good hot pickups there, man. He does save that whole army, picks up to the high ground. Looks like the bio does end up defending this base. Only 10 workers go down, lifting to the high ground. A very good move. That Spore Crawler will fall almost instantly. He's got a lot of Marines there, but he's just going to have to keep picking them up and getting on out of there. So you know what? Neither side lost a base there. Neither side took a critical hit to their economy. Let's take a look at the units lost tab to get an idea of just who that favored. Wow, the Queens get 3 medevacs. Good micro for Dark. Units lost tab looks reasonable for Dark. I don't think he minds that. The problem for him is that his economy is kind of low at 75 drones. He's not at a very high work count, and I don't know why he's taken these 2 bases. I always talk about mining forward bases when your opponent's mega turtled up. I don't think Q is mega turtled up for late game. I mean, it would be amazing if you could mine these out, I guess. It kind of, you know, forces him to move units up here to deal with it and so on. But there's 9 mutas. They're not dealing with this. It feels like Dark's control groups are all over the shop, guys. He does not have a Mutalisk control group. Holy shit, guys. Dark is F2ing like mad. He's literally not got a Mutalisk control group. His control is looking terrible right now. And I was wondering why. And I've brought up the control groups on the right side. And you can see he's got a Packerling Bane that's on number 1. But he's just F2ing everything back and forth and then boxing stuff. He's only got a Queen control group. And that's got 11 Queens on it. And he's just running that around. And he's F2ing his army. Finally! He grabs his mutas and puts them on control group 3 so we can actually hunt down things like Widowmine drops and Banshees and that sort of stuff. But man, yeah, and he grabs an army and throws that on a control group. He starts control grouping his eggs. It feels like Dark's struggling with this map. I struggle on this map a lot. It gets quite chaotic. It really does take a lot of, you know, just handling to cover such a wide front, especially when the Terran's trying to just chip away at your creep on all sides. It gets really hard to deal with, but I thought Dark would be much better at handling that chaos. Now, he's not dead or anything. He's up 15 workers. He's still doing Ling Run buys. He's still being a nuisance to deal with. Kua, though, responding quickly enough. His rally does defend now. Kua, I think, is saying, hey, since you're expanding up here, if I just take this 5th and 6th base off you, then I'm expanding along my rally. So I'd love to see him move this command center up to this top side and just keep expanding on this push path. There's no Lurker Infestor transition, guys. Oh, no. Kua does take some massive Baneling hits there. Wasn't quite watching. The Mutas were going for a bit of a run around, but he mass repaired his turret, so he didn't lose the turret. Mutas had to fall back, and even though Kua loses a lot of Marines there, is there enough Lings to really capitalize and push him out of here? Oh, that Widow Mine kills 19 Zerglings, and that means that Dark cannot defend this base. He's got to give this base up. Dark's got Queens on the top side on that watchtower. The Lings are still flooding in, but this feels like a really bad fight for Dark. I think this, unless he shoves this pushback and completely breaks it here, it feels like Q is going to be able to just win this fight and wear him down. We'll see, though, the Baneling's getting on top. Not many Marines in here, so there's very little actual just straight up raw firepower, but I mean, if he gets a planetary there, he's got the bio here. The Queens are kind of derping around off creep. These 2 will go down. Lurkers are morphing, but they don't have Lurker upgrades, man. And that's what I'm talking about. He didn't have a Hydra Den when his Hive finished. That's why Ultras was the only transition that made sense, and Infestors, because that's the only tech structures he had available. But Dark has played this in a very loose manner, and I always talk about how Dark doesn't look that amazing when he's playing these online cups. And right now, I'm looking at it, I'm kind of going, what's the play right now? You've got Lurkers with no upgrades on them. It's really bizarre. Who knows? Is he just going to wizard his way out of this one? Will he wriggle his way out of trouble? Maybe. Bio is going to pull on back. The planetary's up. Behind this, Thors are still building along with Mass Bio. The Ghost Academy is coming in, so he's going to start his Ghost transition. Still, no Seismic Spines, so no +2 range, no Adaptive Talons to give the Lurkers quicker movement and burrow speed, and yet he's massing Lurkers. It's clearly an oversight for Dark in this game. And Cure, he's going to come on down here. Deny a base. There's no creep that was respread on this side, despite Cure not visiting this side of the map for several minutes. So Dark, he's not really got that expansive kind of coverage of the whole map mindset that could really win him some stuff. Double drop coming in could get denied by Queens. Having 7 Queens underneath will gun that down pretty quickly, so great movement by Dark. Cure, if he loses the double drop, that's a problem. And one of those medevacs goes down, and the other one will as well. Oof. 20 supply thrown away there. Cure walking in with a Thor. The Thor actually does not bad versus 1 or 2 Lurkers, but with that many there, it is an issue. Definitely could repair that Thor if he's super Chad mode, but there's a lot going on in this game. Starts taking more gases. Extra factories are going down as he does want to get a few siege tanks mixed in. And this army on the right, well, it's being held back by the lurkers. He could drop in the main. Vipers are coming out, though. Parasitic Bomb plus Duck could be huge. Oof. Oh, 5 free lurker kills. Very nice catch there. And you can see changing targets to make sure they were all tagged by concussive. These ghosts are a little exposed there, but you can see those lurkers not having the range upgrade is a big bummer. They've now got Adaptive Talons clicking in and Seismic Spines, the range upgrades starting up. Cure, though, he should have a free pass to the late game here for sure. These ghosts do get out of there just barely in time. But I mean, these lurkers are right on the edge of range. You absolutely could deal with it. Nidus Worm comes in for Dark, the big potential comeback play. It's won far too many games for Zerg with lurkers in the last few years, right when you think they're dead. And Lurker will clear up the Widowmine on the high ground. More command centers building. He wants to take these 2 bases. Does Cure. Overseers, Overlords trying to get across the map. Notice how they're snaking across. Anything to spot for the Nidus Worms. Cure is going to be trying to stop these. Maybe a couple of snipey snipes would be worth it. You often see Maru sniping those down. Big attack on the right side. Very nice move here by Cure. He says, screw you and your stupid Nidus Worm. You got to focus on defending, mate. Double Nidus does pop up in the main, or at least a single Nidus, sorry. Q is very occupied. I don't know if he's going to be able to deal with that. He picks up these units and saves it. These ghosts should be able to kill it soon after it pops. I don't know if there's anything loaded into the Nidus. Usually you're waiting to see if it gets up and then you'll quickly load it. It does go down as it pops. This command center is not established right now. Great Parasitic Bomb. This is a beautiful engagement. Q has got to back out from this position. He saves 2 Thors momentarily. Oh, he saves one of them again. And the ghosts are doing all right here. The bio is going to stim down. I can't believe Dark still has this base mining, by the way. That's actually incredible. And he's going to take advantage of that fact. Ooh, one of the lurkers does go down. He doesn't have an overseer there. He's not in range of the planetary with any but 2 of those lurkers. He's going to try and shove on forward. Units will come back up. Squad of units down here still defending. The planetary is slowly erecting itself. Lurkers are going to shove both sides of the map, but Q is a bit too slow to get established, and Dark, I can't believe he's going to resurrect himself in this game, but hey, he is. I really think this base made no sense for Q. Q should have focused on pushing the top side. He should be better in static situations, but the moment you open a front on this bottom right side, you're spreading yourself thin. It's a big mistake that Maru's made many times on Berlingrad by moving for a 5th base when he should have waited. We've seen a lot of players make that mistake. Against the Zerg who's just trying to swarm in, you got to keep things controlled. You got to keep it static, but look at this. Now Dark working this new angle on the right side. The army gets there just a little bit too late. Nidus Worm will pop up in the back door as well. Those lurkers still denying that base. And check it out. He's even going to roll Banes and lurkers in on top of this. The Banes get the repairing SCVs. The Nidus Worm pops up. There's nothing popping out of it, but Q is forced to respect it. And I can't believe it, man. I really thought Q was dead zoes in this game. I guess we should have the scoreboard flipped since red's at the top, blue's at the bottom. My bad on that one, guys. I'm always like, left is above right, yeah? But not in this case. Ghosts are sniping down a few of these lurkers. He's lost 26 SCVs. He's got to do huge game-ending damage right now, does Cure. Oh, but he loses a lot of bio clearing those lurkers out. These ghosts, they do some stuff, but they're all so wounded. There's no medevacs on them, and there's Mauling Bane where that came from. The planetary does cover some of them. But yeah, I think this base was the big mistake, man. I think he could have landed that. He could have been sniping this, pushing in. I mean, he's got a watchtower right there. He could have been harassing that with even a single ghost or 2 from the high ground. I think Cure did slow down a bit too much, missed his opportunity. Now, fascinatingly, guys, Dark is only using 1 control group. That's for these Vipers. Everything else is manual control. It is so impressive. And also, I'm always like stunned by it. I'm like, my lord, there's so many units everywhere on the map. But he's like, nah, man. I just change my rally points, move my shit around with boxes manually, and I parasitic bomb the crap out of your evac. Oh my god, every single medevac goes down. The bio gets overwhelmed by the 3-3 Adrenal Zerglings. And this here is Dark's game. It's in the bag. That's what I was talking about with those ghosts, man. I can't believe he mined so much from this base. It's kind of insane. Some snipes on the drones, not too bad. But Dark, he's a beast, dude. He's only now respreading creep. I talked about how he didn't respread creep here for 10 minutes. Now he's going to respread creep, finally. But it's his army movement that's god tier. It's understanding where to push, where to pull, where to outposition his opponent. Very few players can do that as well as Dark. He finds a weakness. We see some of the best Zergs in the world, you know, headbutt into terrible position. And you go, oh, I guess Terran's just locked down. Dark has a special way of finding the weakness in their setup. And he can just click on these, man. The Ghosts finally take those Lurkers down. We've got random Zerglings flooding in on all sides. Lurkerling Bane coming in from over there, just going to burrow on his face. I do think Cure maybe would have been a bit more comfortable if he had some tank production up a bit earlier. Imagine just 1 or 2 siege tanks on this top left base, putting pressure on there. I think would have put so much pressure on Dark. Instead, these factories only really just got up and producing after he started losing all of his bases. So Cure with some sick plays throughout, but it's hard to finish off someone on such a big, wide map. You've really got to continue just rounding out your position. And in this sort of matchup of Ghost Tank Bio up against Lurkerling Bane, I really feel like Dark taking this base was a gift. He got to take a base right next to his opponent. He should have taken these 2 bases as his next one, and then just had like a wall off here with a tank or 2 behind it. Because then Dark has to push so much deeper into his territory to create a new attack angle. It's in a choked up area, into a choked up area next to his rally point. Much easier to defend, and that's why I keep hitting home on that point. The moment he stretched out to this base, that was a, well, this is great as long as I have complete map dominance. The moment he didn't have map dominance, he crumbled just so suddenly, and that does go in there. It's impressive how many times Pig can sneak erect into his commentary every time there's a planetary. You tell me what's happened when that little Ibex cannon, that twin Ibex cannon's poking its head out of the top of that bad boy. You tell me. You tell me when it's slowly peeking its little head up like a geriatric boner. What? My man. This game's pretty over, guys, but Dark, he doesn't have a giant economy, so we can't just swamp him. He did lose a base or 2. He does need to actually transfer workers down to... Oh, yeah, he's actually not got that much mining right now. I say not that much. He's still at 3k minerals. Not that much gas, apparently. But, yeah, needs to transfer these workers. And, he's not got that many bases to mine from. If Cure was still at 150 supply, I'd believe... well, I mean, if he had an economy. Just because, yeah, the bases will eventually mine out. Oh, abducts on the Ghosts. Brutal. And it's that sad point where your army's so damaged there's no healing left for it. Abducts and medevac doesn't even have anything that shoots up. Just 2 Hydras ain't going to cut the mustard. But you know what, guys? What kind of a sicko's out there cutting mustard anyway? Am I right or am I right? Dark with a sick comeback here. It's interesting to see. I didn't realize how just F2 focused he was, but makes sense for a chaotic guy to be pretty F2 focused. You see here, main army 1, Ghosts 2 for Cure. A little bit more organized, but yeah. I mean, he does have most of his important units in terms of like the Vipers and the Creep Queens on a control group, so we could use those, but interesting to see. Dark and Hero, the masters of chaos. If you don't use control groups, you don't try to organize the situation, you just let the chaos flow and roll with the punches. Turns out that means you are incredibly good in these scrappy games. Well played in game 1 for Dark. All right, guys. Well, it looks like Bruce Willis is over here playing Die Hard as Dark in this series. Refused to die and apparently managed to stall your opponent out with unupgraded lurkers for like 7 minutes. What an absolute Chad, dude. Up here in the top left, we've got Cure. It's Stargazers. Now, this is an interesting map. I haven't seen a lot of Terran versus Zerg. Keep in mind, you've got an in-base expansion. You can mine this out. Each one is 10 minerals, so 4 worker trips to get rid of that. These, though, are 40 minerals each. So you can only really mine these out defensively from your own base. You can't really, like, run across the map and mine them out. Technically, a Terran could do that. You drop a mule, wait for it to mine, drop another mule. Bam! You can run Marines in there, but haven't seen anybody utilize that offensively yet, only defensively to like reinforce. Now, a lot of Terrans will push along, take a 3rd out there or a 4th and kind of push along this ridge through the middle. And the Zerg will kind of expand along the bottom side of the map, right? They don't really want to take this base because it's so easily pushed by tanks down here. You can't really defend it at all unless you go roaches. So we expect Dark to expand along the bottom of the map, maybe even take a 5th on the gold potentially. And Cure, of course, taking that base on the front. He's just going to push that central path. And it's hard to backstab because all you can do is go all the way around the south of the map and then try to hit the natural. It makes it like, you know, we look at the last map. There's so many different run by angles and the like. But in this base, on this map, not necessarily. I mean, you take 4 bases, you're just so compact as the Terran. As you take a 5th and then a 6th in the bottom, that's where you get a little bit more spread out. Now it's a Marine into Reactor one more time. Instant Roach Roar and Dark's all inning. Okay, guys. So Dark is going to go for a Roach push. I think he's going to go 6 roaches, some of which will become ravagers, like multiple probably. So it's going to be off, what, 24 workers? Yeah. He's building 2 overlords now, so he's preparing his supply. He's skipping Ling speed. And this is a very early rush that Dark's going for. Now, the thing is, the reason I wouldn't do this is because it's like, hey, he's building reacted marines. What the hell, man? However, think about it, guys. Ravagers can out micro marines. There's no ramp on this natural. Hellions aren't great against it. It's ages till you get a Banshee or anything out. And the big thing is there's no Reaper or Hellion. Normally a Reaper or Hellion would see the roaches popping out, and the Terran would have ages to swap their buildings around, build a bunker, anything like that. That being said, one Hellion still comes out reasonably early with this build. And if that sees the 6 roaches coming, it's going to be big. We expect another Overlord, and then he's going to morph Ravagers and make drones behind this, guys. Queen's trying to push back this Hellion. He's like, please take a hit from the Queen and turn around. Please, 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 please. Hellion's going to see it. Hellion sees the roachies. An immediate bunker going down at the front would be a good idea, mate. It needs to go down right now. Dark doesn't know he's been spotted, maybe. But yeah, dude, these 6 roaches shouldn't really achieve anything now, because you're going to have a medevac, you got plenty of marines, and I would love to see Cure actually go straight for a Hellion drop. If he just boosts his medevacs across, 3 Hellion drop, there's nothing to defend at home, and I think the marines and SCV repair can handle this. Now, marines and Hellions are here, the roaches are arriving. The marines and Hellions can gun this down, dude. Look at the way he spreads, he does some focus fire. Already one of those roaches taking a lot of damage, but a little bit too far out. Oh, he loses a bunch of those marines, but 4 marines in the bunker is going to be enough, and the repair should be good. Already 2 roaches have fallen, and I guess he didn't build too many Hellions, did he? He's only lost 1 of them, and he doesn't have too many. The Overlord goes down there. That's very effective, and these Ravagers can, of course, pick off for a while, but the Banshee will be out in the near future, and only down 10 workers. You got to feel reasonable about that as Cure. If you can get a 3rd command center started, though, that's where you really are looking sick. And there we go. 3rd CC starts off. Those guys are going to pull back. The marine drop will move across the map. If you can grab some Overlords, that would be fantastic. Dark's 3rd, not even finished. Yes, he's got a worker lead, but his tech is very late. The lair only now starting as well. And he's only got 3 queens with, what, 2 active creep tumors. So even though there's no pressure on your front for a little bit there, you don't have the queens or the creep to take advantage of that. Marines are going to drop on in. That Overlord frantically running to the backside. And all 3 queens are up here, which means, guess what, guys? You're going to be missing inject time if this marine drop can keep you busy. Oh, Overlord survives. Good pullback by Dark. Extra barracks going down. The Banshees are coming out. Right now, they're guarding at the front. And the Marines will come forward. Nice queen positioning so far. Oh, good marine save. But didn't focus the Overlord. I would have liked to see him focus the Overlord there. He leaves 1 marine behind. Goes back and does end up saving that. And he's just going to look to veer around, see if he can find any angles. 3rd command center finishing up. Those extra barracks are here. The engineering bay is going down. Good macro for Cure. I often feel that Cure is a bit tighter than Dark in the early stages. But Dark is not about optimizing, I think is the way Artosis put it recently. He was very aptly describing Dark in a cast. He was like, yeah, you know, Dark's, he's just going to build 6 roaches and you're going to be like, oh, are you going for an all-in? And he's just like, no, I'm just going back to droning. I just felt like building 6 roaches. And you're like, oh, but you're behind now. And he's like, yeah, I'm Dark. And I was like, this is the best explanation of Dark's mindset I've ever heard. Like, he does inefficient shit for seemingly random reasons and still comes out on top. So Dark is so good at like, yeah, this is a bit of a messy start. I didn't really get much damage. Like I killed a few Marines and forced a bunker, man. That is normally, like, I would not feel good if I was in Dark's shoes with that, but he's maintaining that 10 worker lead this whole time. I mean, his Evo's are way behind. He's on Roach Tech, which is not amazing. He's building 13 more drones though. So he's getting up to 70 workers. He's getting his 4th hatchery started. He's not really taking any damage here. So it's not too bad for him. Bunker does get sold. Banshees will get repaired up. Marine tank on the front. And obviously tanks make perfect sense if you're up against Roach Ravager. However, Dark knows that. He's not making Roach speed. He's going Baneling speed, macro hatch. He's going double Evo chamber now. So he'll once again be about 2 whole upgrades behind. And that is why with tank play, I do think Cure might want to invest in a fast 5th gas because his 2-2 did not start immediately last game, and that's just because tank production is really expensive. His armory is on time though. Infestation pit for Dark, so it tells us he might be playing the fast hive style again and just skipping the Spire. Remember the Spire, he didn't commit a lot to last game, so it felt like he wanted to play that anyway. Ooh, drones in the open is always nice. He gets 2 drones and maybe a Ravager. Yep, barely gets a Ravager kill. Queen's coming in from both sides. And Marine stimming in the front. Oh, if he could get the 4th, that would be huge. But the Ling Ravager is there. He's going to go after 1 queen, 2 queen, 3 queens. And good pickup. Saves most of those Marines. And he can move to the top angle. Oh, so annoying to deal with. Just gets Dark running back and forwards. And you can just ping pong him here. These Marines on the north. And look at that. Banshees come back in. They grab a drone. He killed 3 of the queens, remember. There's only 5 queens now. Luckily, Dark does have a macro hatch coming up. He needs that. And Banshees will pick off at least 3 of these tumors. Yep, pushing that back. Oh, this is very oppressive. 5th base in the bottom for Dark going up. 4th command center does now start. 2-2 upgrades are on the way. The Marines come in one more time. 1 Marine gets left behind, but the rest are doing an awesome job. That scouting Zergling's actually very effective for Dark. He does need to replenish at least 1 tumor on this north angle, though. Banshee's down there just picking away at his hatchery, making things claustrophobic. But does he care? Because he's Dark and he can be way behind on those upgrades. He's got a hive, he's got 77 workers, and it doesn't feel like he's about to die anytime soon. I wonder if against this style of play you should just do a 3 base all in. You know, really keep up your tank production and just actually hit a really hard Marine tank timing. Queens are coming in, Banshees have to pull out. Don't throw them away. Do not throw them away, Cure. Ah, he's throwing them away. Just when it's always this thing whereas the Terran you're like, I want to focus on other things. I might as well throw it away. But I think having both Banshees alive and just keeping them going, they're so good for controlling the map, stopping run-bys, and harassing as well. 88 workers for Dark. He's got a giant economy. His army sucks right now. This is what I'm talking about. I think if there was a complete commitment of Marine tank, I actually think Dark just straight up loses the game. He's down 20 army supply. He has no creep. If there was like a tank here, or even drops a tank on the high, the tank's up there and pushes from the back door. Either way, I don't think Dark could handle it. I think Kua has a way better army than him, but Kua's playing to the late game. The thing is, he's not racing to the late game. Dark's actually played greedier than him. So I'm going to criticize the fact that Kua seems to be very focused on being aggressive. He's not powering at all, doesn't cut any corners to build the 4th CC, and yet then doesn't finish it with a timing attack and just goes to late game, but he goes there a little slower than Dark, and oh my god, that could be very dangerous. Where he's got some units out front, but no spotters in the back. This back door is Lurker-nitis heaven. Now, there's no lurkers out. It's just going to be Ling Bane, but still, he's going to lose his production, and that's huge. Like, the stuff popping out there is massive. If he popped out a queen and dropped creep tumors, that would be also be sick. All right, a lot of Ling Bane there. He's going to try and drop on the Nidus's cure. That's a pretty good move. He's trying to also A-move back up in there, and looks like he's not going to lose his add-ons, which is very good. Ling Bane gets in the mineral line, but they don't really find too much. Burrowing Zerglings and Banelings in every corner of the base, though. That's what we call being a cheeky dickhead. Very nicely played here. Scan goes down on the left side. There's still a burrowed Baneling up in that top left. And now also here as well, which he's ignored. He's got to leave units here. Oh, that's a bummer. Dark being a cheeky dickhead, and he's doing it so well. Double Lurker Den goes down now. Once again, Dark doing a super disorganized build. The Lurker Den is so much later than the Hive, as is the Hydra Den. His build timings make no sense, but holy shit, his movement is god tier. And he's gonna find the massive, so many workers on this base. Oh, Cure. Q is just getting pulled around by the Nidus worms, and Dark is taking him to Dicktown there. I gotta say, good pull on the boys. But there's a bunch of burrowed units there. You got to drop a scan, Q. You got to drop a scan. This cheeky bug is still in your back door. There's a Zergling there as well. Another Nidus worm's going to go up and... Oh! The SCVs went back to mine, and he gets another 7 workers with the burrowed Banes in the mineral line. And there's more where that came from. He's got to deal with that, does Cure. But Dark, he's like, I'm fast, man. Look at my 440 APM. I'm everywhere. Unburrows on that base. Where the hell is Cure's attention going to go? Well, he just can't cover everything at once, can he, guys? There we go. Banelings find some of the Marines. He does save some of those. But look at this. He's streaming Lings into your base. They're going to burrow in every friggin' corner now. You've got to scan to get rid of these. This drop's getting cleaned up. Is Cure dead? No. But it just feels like momentum-wise, he's on the back foot. Now, keep in mind, Dark... Oh, come on, Cure. You got to scan. You got to know that he's burrowing, guys. You got to leave stuff up here, man. But, I think Cure's F2ing a bit too much as well. And that means those Nidus Worms are not going to stop hitting. I mean, he's getting a 5th base up in the bottom, which is awesome. But I wonder why he doesn't just have a planetary up here. I feel like this base is so easy to defend, right? And it's also like, hey, that's going to by having a planetary there, you'll defend everything. Now, Kua is going to leave a medevac of Marines there. Not a bad call. The Lurkers are coming in with the double Lurker Den upgrades, which is super sick for Dark. Dark's got his 6th base in the back, so 6 base versus 5 base. Not bad for him. Ghost transition only now started, guys. The very first Ghost is coming out, and 3-3 upgrades are on the way for Terran. Zerg has not started any tier 3 upgrades yet. I keep looking back here, but I think Dark's wisely being very patient, and he's just waiting for Kua to maybe F2 these guys out of that main. Lings are going to open up another path here. He's also opening this path up. Just more freedom of movement usually is good for the Zerg player. You want to be able to move those fast mobile units around and catch your opponent off guard. He's going to build a 3rd Evo chamber as well, guys, because he wants to apparently get range upgrades and melee prioritized over Carapace. A very odd choice. Kua is building more command centers right now, as well as an extra factory. His delayed factories, the lack of tanks really hurt him in that last game. And these Lings continuing to just unburrow and be a giant nuisance. Lurkers shoved through the middle. Mass Ling Bane catches some of his tanks out. The bio on the left, though, cleans up a lot of the Ling Bane very effectively. And I think the Lurkers are a bit too far back to deal with all that. He will get some SCVs, but not too many. You've got to scan to deal with all this. He's scanning in the main. He's trying to clean up these Lings in the back door. Dark's being a massive dickhead once again. I love it. I mean that in the best way possible. For anyone who... Every now and then, I criticize Dark because, a lot because I watch so much of his games and I know what he does well and I know what he does badly. He's one of my favorite players. People might think I'm calling him a dickhead as an insult. Guys, your goal in StarCraft is to be a dickhead. Your whole goal is to interrupt your opponent's rhythm. Right? It's to be as frustrating to play against as possible. And Dark is wizarding that shit. Man, these big maps, these gigantic maps give him a little bit more room to breathe. And I think Dark is just a beast at abusing it. Like, it's disgusting how good he is at abusing it. And it's with movement. It's not, I have better late game units. It's just with the way he moves around and catches you out of position. That finally gets caught. Please scan that Kua. You need to. Planetary is going to get taken out. Oh, Banelings are going to find the massive SCVs, guys. That is so many SCVs going down. He does have a command center to replace it, but he needs to build SCVs right now. If Kua wants to stay alive in this game, he's down at 46. We need to see 6 SCVs queued up at a time. And I really think this game is so hard for him. And the main reason for that is just because he never sealed up this top side. That one hole in his defenses has really hurt him. Dark here says any hole's a goal for these Banelings, and he opens one up right there. Lingbane Hydra. He's got pathogen clans as well, does Dark. If he catches the bio is rotating north-south in these big masses. If he ever catches that with a fungal, I mean, on this army, it's just game over. There are 4 SCVs rebuilding at a time, which tells us that the orbitals aren't all control grouped, because he does have only 3, actually. A lot of his extra command centers haven't been morphed into orbitals. That's a big problem. That tells us, guys, that Kua has not quite made it to the Iron Bank. Not even close. He doesn't have any extra orbitals. He's making planetaries everywhere. He needs extra orbitals and extra SCVs to kind of buffer up his income. And, oh, man, another Nidus in the top. The Marines are going to move over there. And the thing is, they're not going to get there in time. And that's such a bummer for him, because look at this. Lurkers are set up in the middle. And he says, hey, your whole army is moving north. I'm going to attack the south again. Ghosts caught in the open. Oh, that Widow Mine could be a banger, though. And Planetary in the north will go down to these Lurkers. He's forced to lift off there. Changelings moving north right now. We've got the Lurkers moving south as well. Double Spire on the way. Dark's going to try and take this base out, and Kua's going to force him to burrow a little further back. I don't know if Kua has the numbers to take this out. Oh, he tries to take the fight. I don't know who wins this fight. It looks like Kua, in the tail end of it, gets a very efficient fight. The Banelings don't quite finish morphing. Very nicely done by Kua. If he didn't win that fight, I think he was so close to death. These ghosts are clumping up a little bit, but he gets rid of it. And a few turrets, maybe a tank or something on that base would really help out. Okay, a bit of this bio does get caught out. He's got a planetary and a lib defending to fall back. Still, I like the way Dark keeps moving forward into this ridge in the middle and trying to find openings wherever he can. That Widow Mine there, once again, another banging hit. Gets another 17 Zerglings there. The bio there, Banelings are going to roll into that planetary, getting at least a few of these SCVs, but overall a very good hold there by Kua. Kua's hanging on for dear life, and he's doing it very well. Dark, I think, is realizing he's going to need to go for a Broodlord swap. If Kua can just kind of stabilize momentarily, that'd be big. Now, this Nidus should tell him that there is an Overseer there. If he moves his Ghost up to the edge, he can snipe that bad boy. He's leaving a lot of supply kind of all over the place. So Kua's, I think, got to shut down the vision is the trick at this point. get turrets on the edge, turrets here, leave maybe just 2 or 3 Marines patrolling or Marauders, and you'll be good. He gets a snipe on the gold, which is fantastic. Units lost tab, much better for Kua this game. You can see he's 10,000 resources ahead, 25,000 to 15,000 in his favor. As I say that, he's going to lose a triple drop, which is a little rough. Save some of the units just barely. And man, not too bad. Dark is only missing +3 range upgrade now. His upgrade tab is very colorful, as you can see. Got building armor, as well as a bunch of other stuff. 12 ghosts. Looks like the Overseer did get shut down. There's still some ghosts here, which of course, like we said, can shut down the drops and everything. The back base is up. Back up to 66 SCVs, and check out the structures tab, guys. The Iron Bank, he's up on 5 orbitals with a 6th one making. So that gives Kua a bit more scans, a bit more vision. It also gives him the ability to drop mules. So if he loses SCVs, he can drop way more mules and recover and keep that bank growing, which he is way behind in the bank right now. 5,000 resources in the bank for Dark, 500 for Kua. But Kua's getting his infrastructure. And you got to say, on this map, there's no middle bases. You have those bases. He has those bases. The only extra base Dark gets for his map control is this gold base. And it's not more minerals than a normal base. In fact, it's less because there's only 6 mineral patches. So, yeah, it mines out quicker. Yeah, you get 1 extra base. You're going to get, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 minerals, 5,000 gas. That's awesome. That is really fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Is it going to make up for the fact that you're trading at close to 2-to-1 cost inefficiency? Like, no, it's not. It's not going to make up for that in the long term. So I think Kua has an easy answer on this map. Unlike a lot of the other maps we've experienced recently, where there'd be another base here and another base here and another base here, all of which Dark can start taking and therefore denying from his opponent. He needs to win the next battle, and yet he's on mass Hydraling Bane. So I think for Dark, what I'd do if I was in his shoes is I'd look for a big fight. It's hard because he's let the defensive setup get up there, so maybe really be cautious about picking where that fight is, and then swap into one big wave of Broodlords and Festers and really try to micro out that one big killer push. But if you just sit back and wait for too long, it's going to be awkward. And I mean, it feels like Dark's committing to that. I like the way he's sending changelings everywhere. So look at Dark's vision, guys. He's got changelings all over the map. He's really spamming them out, and it's hard for Kua to spot them all and click them all down. So this gives him a good idea of like what the defensive setup is of Kua and where those units are placed. But anytime he runs into like the Widow Mines, it can get dangerous. He does clean up a few Liberators pretty efficiently, but my god, oh man, what a crazy move down this ramp. The Banelings actually blow up quite a few tanks. There's so much bio left behind it, and we've got to always check in the units lost. Still about 10k, a 10k difference, sorry, between the two, which is not too bad. Lurkers are down here. I think Kua needs to really just play very patiently. He's got 11 ghosts, but remember, a lot of those I think are still in that top base. Oh, and anytime you disengage, the ghosts are punishing you. Whenever you skirmish but don't fully overwhelm, the ghosts will always gun down your guys as they try to run away now. See, we've got still 4 ghosts on the top, which I don't think he needs right now. I think he can rejoin those with his main army. Dark's kind of given up on those Niduses. It's more the changelings getting through into the back line that actually could be dropping Nidus worms. That's more what you got to focus on. Other than that, though, I think Kua's supply is basically all focused on the front and like defending and all this sort of stuff. And I think he knows as long as he keeps this bottom base alive, he's okay. But oh, his army's out of position. His tanks are in the open right now. This is a crazy attack for Dark, and it could pay off big. Blinding Cloud is massive. Oh my god, Kua, the tanks are in range of the Lurkers. This is so bad for him, man. He's got to go forward to try and defend his tanks. The Liberator, though, is killing some of these Lurkers behind it. Lurker Baneling runs in there, but he didn't actually burrow the Lurkers. He didn't burrow the Lurkers. The Planetary's picking them all off over there. Bit of a mistake for Dark. Does Dark get enough damage? He finally kills the Planetary. Those Lurkers and Banes will run away. He's got some more Lurkers on the high ground. He's going to try and take out some of this infrastructure, see what he can do. That was a really good push, and I think Kua just caught out of position. He's got to control this ridge. He's got to get his tanks up on that ridge and hold this area, and from there he can defend. If he lets Dark take this area, Dark can pinch him in between his setup and really catch him off guard a little bit. I feel as well like a random Burrowed Infestor might be able to infiltrate and do that as well. Great fight for Dark in terms of opening up, getting some damage, slowing down the mining. Momentum-wise, very good for Dark. Units lost. He slipped another 4,000 resources behind in the units lost. You can see the bank's much closer, but Dark's up 40 supply. He's still got momentum. As we were talking about, these Lurkers starting to siege him down just little by little, being very annoying. Kua's moving his libs up. And hey, I bet he's happy he left his ghosts there now because they are, by default, no micro needed. going to defend the Nidus Worm on the top side. Dark gathering for one more giant wave on the bottom. Can he break through? Nidus Worm on the top goes down, had nothing loaded in. There's nothing down there. There's no tanks. He has not moved up, and Dark, he's going to get a base tonight, almost 100%. How much does it cost him, though? The Vipers both just got popped there. The base goes down to that attack on the top side. He's just harassing with a lurker. Tank Liberator takes it out. You got to be careful here, man. You don't have any Tank Liberators supporting this army, and that's where things get very dicey. There's no planetary here. Where's his tanks? Cua's doing some decent spreadies, but the Banelings are getting on top. A lot of Banelings getting connections on the Marauders, on the Ghosts, on all that stuff. The tanks moving a bit far forward. Cua a little disorganized in his response. He's just got to weather the storm of Dark. Dark is so all in with this push, and yet it's going to pay off. He doesn't have any skins. He doesn't have any skins yet. Dark on Burrows because he doesn't have high ground vision either. Oh my god, can you believe that, guys? He drops a scan with that orbital and then has to lift it off again. All of his orbitals that have energy are lifted right now. What a shit show for both sides. Whoever wins this fight wins the game because they are broke as shit. Dark still has the gold base, so he's winning in that regard. But I think if Cua can just get this base mining, get that base mining, he's back on it. This lurker on the high ground is a nightmare for Cua. Oh my god, what a crazy series of fights there. Units lost tab, 17,000 resources ahead for Cua. But he's got no mining on these two very important bases. He's got barely any minerals coming in. Dark still has a gold base there. He's got some mineral patches there. He's got some mineral patches there. He's got some mineral patches there. Dark's income is just wiping the floor with Cua. Cua was ahead for a moment 5 minutes ago. Other than that, the last 10 minutes has been all Dark. And really, I mean, at this point, Dark's sprinting towards the finish line. He wants to win with the next wave. He's going to go Corruptors now. So he is going to go Broodlord Infestor. I talked about how, you want to take a trade, be careful with it, but try to then go into Infestor Broodlord because this is your last army you're building. You're not going to be able to reinforce a full remax after this. It's going to be one last army. It's got to be efficient. Broodlord Infestor is the efficient army. And I don't know if I have faith in Cua being able to really beat that army, but he's trying to push the gold base. I don't know if that's the right call for Cua, because look at that. Dark immediately just takes advantage of him with a big old backstab. Cua's got to get back there and defend. The Queens come off creep and go down. The Ghosts will go back and defend. Actually, he doesn't take too much damage, does he? Lurkers could pop out, but there's Ghosts on top of it. And look at that. The Overseer's going down as well. Oh my god, so many Overseers just died. That's a lot of money that Dark just lost. And this tank is sieging him. I guess this push actually worked out really well for Cua. My gosh, he's up 20,000 resources. And closing the supply gap up in army supplies. A planetary up there. This is still the only opening, but I mean, you're getting shelled by tanks and planetaries on both sides. And anytime your units go that deep, they are going to get caught out. Cua, oh my god. 4 Burrowed Banelings. For those who don't know, 4 Burrowed Banelings should do enough damage, I believe, to kill Ghosts. Abducts are going to get rid of the tanks on the south. And it looks like he did scan and take that out. Wait, did he lose the Ghosts? He's still got 14 Ghosts. No. I think he scanned. I think he lost very few units to those Banelings, if any. He did scan them, so well done there by Cua. And look at that, the snipes coming in. Mass revenge. Huge snipes. Oh, the Viper abducts are pretty sick, though. He does get rid of like 5, 6, 7 Ghosts there for a couple of units. Not a bad trade for Dark. And he's got Broodlords out. They have shown themselves, though. Meanwhile, Cua says, okay, you got Broods. Let's start getting mobile to take advantage of that. He's also building Thors. He's already got +2 vehicle armor, +2 attack. So he does have good upgrades as those Thors now come out 2 at a time. If you get out maybe 4 Thors to fight these 10 Broods, the Thors will destroy that battle as Thors smash Broodlords. But right now he's got to pull back. Cua cannot fight this right now. He's jumped on the top. The Ling Bane has for Dark. He's fungling the army on the south. Cua needs to pull behind this base. His tank line's getting broken right now. He's so heavy on the Marauder. His Ghosts are low on energy. Oh, he does manage to get back before the fungal hits him. But look at this, man. His Thors are going down. His Marines are going down. I think Dark's going to do it with the Broodlord push. Oh, great fungal lands. Just when you think Cua's going to hang on and fight his way back in this game. The Broodlord fungal combo is devastating. The Infestors are taking those lib shots and getting boned. But it doesn't matter because they get the fungal off before they go down. And he's going to be able to break through. There's just not quite enough anti-air. Not enough to respond. And Cua has to tap out in this absolute meat grinder of a game. Oh my god. Dark getting the 2-0 on the big boy maps. Wow. Wow. He loses 60,000 to 44,000, but he denies these 2 bases. He gets the gold base mostly mined out, and that Broodlord switch at the end there just cleans it up super efficiently. GG, well played.